ThomasMore, the men behind the legacy. Imagine England in the early 1500s, a land of castles and courtiers, where political alliances shift with the wind, and kings are as likely to change laws as they are to discard wives. In the midst of this volatile landscape stands a man of quiet resolve, known as ThomasMore. To many, he's just a lawyer, a statesman, one of many advisors to the famously unpredictable King Henry VIII. But to those who know him well, More is much more, a man of unshakable conviction, driven not by ambition but by an extraordinary sense of duty, both to his faith and to his conscience. Born in 1478, ThomasMore came of age during the Renaissance, a period bursting with new ideas and intellectual freedom. Scholars were rediscovering the ancient texts of Greece and Rome, and artists were redefining beauty and form. More was swept up by this wave of humanism, and he became a scholar and philosopher at heart. He believed in the power of education, the importance of compassion, and above all, the duty of individuals to live with integrity. Yet, he was also a practical man who understood the demands of politics and the compromises that often come with power. As he rose through the ranks of the English court, ThomasMore found himself in increasingly difficult positions, torn between his loyalty to the crown and his dedication to his beliefs. Henry VIII, his charismatic but restless king, was growing desperate for a male heir and seeking the Pope's approval to divorce his wife. When that permission was denied, Henry decided to take matters into his own hands, breaking with the Catholic Church and declaring himself the head of the Church of England. To most of his court, it was a clear choice: fall in line or risk losing everything. But to More, it was a profound moral dilemma. At the height of his career, with wealth, influence, and a family who depended on him, More made a decision few could fathom. He chose to walk away from the court, refusing to support Henry's divorce and England's break with the Catholic Church. Even as the pressure mounted, and friends and family urged him to reconsider, More held his ground. "I die the king's good servant, but God's first," he famously declared, words that would echo through the centuries. More's legacy goes beyond his martyrdom. His writings, especially his 1516 masterpiece, Utopia, offered a vision of a society built on justice, equality, and common welfare, ideas so radical they seem strikingly modern. In Utopia, More imagined a world where people lived in harmony, where wealth was shared, and where leaders served the common good. It was an ideal he knew was nearly impossible to achieve, yet he believed in the power of vision to inspire change. Centuries later, ThomasMore stands as an icon of moral courage, a man who placed truth above power and conscience above comfort. He reminds us that, even in a world rife with compromise, there is a strength that comes from living by one's principles, and a timeless dignity in choosing integrity over convenience. More's life, marked by faith, vision, and unyielding dedication to the values he cherished, remains a beacon for anyone who believes that doing what is right matters, even when the cost is great. 1. Standing for principles, integrity at great cost. One of More's most profound life lessons is his unwavering commitment to his principles, even in the face of grave consequences. His refusal to support King Henry VIII's break from the Catholic Church and the establishment of the Church of England ultimately led to his execution. This act of defiance wasn't a political maneuver, it was a stance grounded in faith and personal conviction. More's integrity reminds us that sometimes the hardest path is the one that aligns with our beliefs. Today, we see similar ethical dilemmas play out on global and personal levels. The lesson here is not that we should seek martyrdom but rather that true integrity may require us to make difficult choices and sacrifices. His life reminds us that moral courage, sticking to one's convictions, is often its own reward, as it brings an internal peace that cannot be shaken by external forces. More's decision wasn't taken lightly. He knew the consequences but remained steadfast, exemplifying the idea that peace within oneself matters as much, if not more, than external harmony. Modern leaders, too, can learn from More's example. Sometimes, standing up for principles and ethics in the workplace, in politics, or even in personal relationships may come at a cost, but it also upholds a sense of self-respect that cannot be easily replaced. 2. The value of education and intellectual curiosity. ThomasMore was an advocate of education and a humanist thinker. His humanism, rooted in an appreciation for human nature and a desire to understand humanity's potential for goodness, was radical for his time. His advocacy for education was not just a call for knowledge's sake but for the personal and social benefits that come from intellectual development. For More, education was about empowering people to think critically, communicate effectively, and contribute meaningfully to society. This commitment to education as a transformative force speaks to the universal value of learning as a lifelong journey. The ideals he upheld are deeply relevant today, especially in a world where misinformation and superficial learning can cloud judgment and hinder personal growth. In Utopia, More emphasizes the idea of an educated, reasoning population that can contribute to the welfare of the state. This reflects his belief that education should foster both individual enlightenment and a sense of social responsibility. This is a lesson that can guide us in contemporary times, encouraging individuals to seek knowledge not just for personal gain but as a means of contributing positively to their communities and making informed decisions. 3. Envisioning a just society. More's Utopia offers a vision of a society based on reason, communal welfare, and justice. While the work was partly satirical, it serves as a thought experiment on what a just and equitable society might look like. In Utopia, More describes a community where property is communal, and wealth inequality is minimized, remarkable ideas for an era deeply divided by class and wealth. The term utopia itself, derived from Greek to mean no place or nowhere, hints at the unattainable nature of such a society. However, More's fictional society critiques the greed, corruption, and social inequality he observed in England. By imagining a better world, More challenges us to question the flaws in our own societies and to envision systems that prioritize equity and well-being for all citizens. This lesson is timeless. Modern movements advocating for social justice, economic reform, and political transparency reflect the same desire More had to create a society that benefits everyone, not just the privileged few. More's utopian vision serves as a reminder that while a perfect society may be unattainable, the pursuit of justice and equity should remain central to our social values. 4. Balancing public duty and private conscience. More's life was marked by a constant tension between his duties as a public servant and his personal conscience. As an advisor to King Henry VIII, More had to reconcile his responsibilities to the crown with his own moral beliefs, particularly when it came to his Catholic faith. His eventual resignation from his role as Lord Chancellor reflects his internal struggle to maintain his integrity while serving in a position of power. More's struggle highlights an important lesson: balancing our personal values with our public or professional responsibilities is often challenging but essential. In the modern world, where leaders and public servants are frequently caught between conflicting interests, More's example serves as a model of ethical leadership. His decision to resign rather than compromise his beliefs illustrates the importance of aligning our actions with our values, even when the consequences are high. This balance between public duty and private conscience is particularly relevant today as individuals in various fields, from politics to business, face pressure to conform to actions they may privately oppose. 5. Humor and humanity in adversity. More was known for his wit and humor, even in trying times. Throughout his life, he used humor to cope with difficult situations and to connect with others on a human level. His humor wasn't merely a defense mechanism, it was a way to keep a grounded perspective, to find lightness amidst difficulty, and to remain approachable and relatable. For example, even when imprisoned in the Tower of London, More maintained his humor, reportedly joking with his captors. This resilience and ability to find joy in dark times reflect a profound inner strength. More's humor teaches us that, while life's challenges may be serious, maintaining a sense of humor can help us navigate hardships with resilience and grace. In today's high-pressure world, More's example reminds us that laughter and humanity are valuable resources for maintaining mental well-being. Humor can bridge divides, ease tension, and remind us that, despite our differences, we share a common human experience. His approach to adversity also suggests that a light-hearted outlook can often strengthen one's resilience, helping to face trials without losing one's sense of self. 6. The importance of meaningful friendships. Throughout his life, More valued and maintained close friendships, most notably with the Dutch humanist Erasmus. Their friendship was marked by intellectual exchange, shared values, and mutual support. Erasmus once wrote of More, "His soul is as pure and delightful as his face is expressive," highlighting the depth of their bond. For More, friendships were more than casual associations, they were connections rooted in shared ideals and mutual respect. His relationships with fellow thinkers reflected a commitment to growth through dialogue and companionship, reminding us of the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who challenge, support, and inspire us. In a world where digital connections sometimes replace genuine interactions, More's approach to friendship underscores the importance of nurturing relationships that go beyond the superficial. True friendships, rooted in understanding and shared values, enrich our lives and provide support during difficult times. More's life teaches us that meaningful friendships are an essential part of a fulfilling life. 7. Living with integrity and accepting consequences. More's refusal to betray his principles in exchange for safety is perhaps his most enduring lesson. His words before his execution, "I die the King's good servant, and God's first," encapsulate his dedication to living with integrity. More chose to remain true to his beliefs, even if it meant facing execution. This lesson resonates deeply in a world where personal gain, compromise, and shifting loyalties often dominate. More's life reminds us that true integrity means prioritizing our principles over the fear of consequences. His commitment to integrity over survival challenges us to reflect on our own willingness to make sacrifices for what we believe in. In today's world, where ethical compromises are often seen as necessary for success, More's example serves as a powerful reminder that integrity is its own reward. Living with a clear conscience and a sense of purpose is ultimately more fulfilling than any material gain that comes from betraying one's values. 8. Faith as a source of strength. Thomas More's faith was not only a private belief but a guiding principle that influenced his decisions and sense of morality. His Catholicism was at the heart of his identity, and it shaped his actions and attitudes, from his work in government to his relationships and even his final days. More believed that his duty to God transcended all worldly obligations. This commitment to faith provided him with inner strength, a sense of purpose, and a moral compass that directed his life's choices, especially during his opposition to King Henry VIII's divorce and the creation of the Church of England. More's unwavering adherence to his beliefs in the face of persecution and death serves as a profound example of faith as a source of resilience. His famous last words, "I die the King's good servant, and God's first," express his ultimate loyalty to his faith above all else. More's actions and words remind us that a well-rooted belief system, whether religious or philosophical, can provide a foundation for courage, clarity, and inner peace, even in the most challenging situations. This lesson is relevant to us today as we navigate a world filled with complex ethical choices and personal challenges. Faith, in More's example, isn't solely about religion. It can also mean a deep commitment to any guiding philosophy or set of values. Whether one's beliefs stem from religion, a spiritual practice, or a personal moral code, having something to rely on for strength and guidance can help us remain grounded in times of uncertainty. More teaches us that faith can offer us a way to stay connected to our values, even when the world around us seems chaotic. This commitment to something greater than ourselves provides a sense of purpose and helps us approach life's challenges with resilience and grace. 9. Appreciate the complexity of human nature. ThomasMore had a deep understanding of human nature, which he demonstrated through his work, writings, and relationships. His vision of Utopia explores this understanding on a societal scale. Instead of depicting an ideal world where everyone acts perfectly, More's Utopia reflects a society that accommodates human flaws, suggesting practical solutions to mitigate greed, conflict, and inequality. Rather than denying human imperfection, More imagined a system that worked with it, emphasizing the importance of creating a society that respects human limitations while fostering positive behaviors. More's nuanced view of human nature translates into a lesson in empathy and tolerance. He understood that people are inherently complex, capable of both great virtue and significant flaws. This acceptance of human complexity made him both a realistic and compassionate thinker, valuing the potential for human growth and transformation. In his personal life, this understanding likely contributed to his deep friendships and the respect he earned from peers, even among those who disagreed with him. For modern life, More's appreciation of human complexity serves as a reminder to approach others with understanding, patience, and kindness. In relationships, workplaces, and communities, people come with a mix of strengths, flaws, experiences, and values. By accepting this, we can avoid the pitfalls of perfectionism and the need for others to fit rigid ideals. Instead, More's example encourages us to focus on positive change and progress, understanding that perfection is neither realistic nor necessary. This attitude can help us foster collaboration, forgiveness, and understanding in a world that often feels divided. More's approach reminds us that true compassion is rooted in the acceptance of both the beauty and the imperfection of human nature. 10. Find peace in simplicity and detachment. In Utopia, More presents a society where people live with limited material possessions, sharing resources and focusing on the common good over individual wealth. This portrayal was partly a critique of the materialism and social inequities of his time. By contrasting England's wealth-driven society with Utopia's modest lifestyle, More encouraged readers to consider the impact of excessive ambition and materialism on personal well-being and societal harmony. Although More lived in a world of wealth and power, he understood the value of simplicity and self-restraint, choosing a life of modest means even when he held high office. More's emphasis on detachment from material wealth reflects a lesson in finding contentment through simplicity. He believed that wealth and excess could easily distract individuals from higher values and meaningful connections. By focusing on simplicity and self-control, More proposed that individuals could cultivate greater peace and satisfaction, fostering a life of balance and purpose rather than one consumed by the endless pursuit of more. This message is especially relevant in today's consumer-driven society, where the accumulation of possessions and achievements is often equated with success. More's concept of detachment reminds us to question whether the pursuit of material goods and status is truly fulfilling. By prioritizing simplicity, we can focus on the things that bring genuine contentment, relationships, personal growth, and inner peace. More teaches us that finding peace in simplicity is about understanding that true happiness lies in self-awareness and the cultivation of a fulfilling inner life rather than in outward success or possessions. Conclusion: Thomas More's legacy in the modern world. Thomas More's life lessons are both timeless and transformative. His dedication to integrity, his pursuit of a just society, and his commitment to balancing public duty with personal conscience serve as guiding principles for anyone striving to live a meaningful life. More's example teaches us that moral courage, intellectual curiosity, and compassion are not just ideals but practical virtues that can shape our lives and our societies for the better. In an age where challenges often test our commitment to these principles, More's life reminds us of the strength that comes from living authentically. Whether through small acts of integrity, the pursuit of knowledge, or efforts to create a more just world, More's lessons continue to inspire. His life story, marked by courage, humor, and compassion, serves as a powerful testament to the enduring power of living with purpose and conviction. Thomas More's legacy invites us to reflect on our values, our actions, and the kind of world we wish to build. His teachings are a reminder that the true measure of a life is not in wealth or power but in the impact of our choices and the integrity of our character. By following his example, we, too, can work toward a legacy of justice, compassion, and unwavering commitment to our principles.